Hey guys, welcome back to Writing for Ghosts. I'm Jacob, and today I'm going to be talking about The Thin Executioner by Darren Shan, which I surprisingly picked up at a used bookstore for like $2. I read Darren Shan voraciously, if I can pronounce that, in my I guess it would be early middle school. 6th grade is when I first picked up my first Circuit to Freak book, and I think I know I've read the whole series, but I want to say I finished it by the time I was out of high school. I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm pretty sure I've also reread the series several times. It's one of my all-time favorite book series. I haven't read any of I think he came out and did some Martin Creepsley books. I haven't read any of those. At some point, I think I'm going to plan to. I also haven't read let me see if I can pronounce this right, the Demonintia series, which is another horror series he did, which obviously deals with demons. But I definitely want to read them. I just haven't quite gotten around to it. I love the Circuit to Freak series, though. As I find more and more of his books out in the wild, I've been picking them up. One that I had never heard of was this book, The Thin Executioner, which is a pretty decently sized book. It's also, I was surprised to find, more of a fantasy book. There are a lot of horror elements in it, but it's not really a straight up horror book. It's more of a grim, dark fantasy setting, if you're familiar with that. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe grimdark. I'm sure there's a really great Wikipedia entry somewhere out there that'll sum it all up for me. But grimdark is basically where bad things happen to our fantasy heroes, and then those bad things tend to get worse. In the world of the Thin Executioner, which I will not try to pronounce a lot of the fantasy names, I can barely pronounce real world names without tripping over my own tongue. But in the world of the Thin Executioner, the ruling country, which is the one he lives in, a ruling society, is very warrior-like. All crimes are basically... There's no fair trial. If you are caught and judged as guilty of committing a crime, you are going to be executed for that crime. That is how they keep their rule of law. They're a warrior society. They think peace is weakness, and they've basically built their society upon conquering all their enemies. They are also a slave-holding society, which plays a very big part in this book. I will read the back of it for you guys. In a kingdom of merciless tyrants, Jebel Rum's family is honored as royalty because his father is the executioner. But Rashid Rum is near retirement, and when he goes, there will be a contest to determine his successor. It is a contest that thin, puny Jebel has no chance of winning. Humiliated and ashamed, Jebel sets out on a quest to the faraway home of a legendary fire god to beg for inhuman powers so that he can become the most lethal of men. He must take with him a slave named, and forgive me because I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Tel Hassani, to be sacrificed to the god. It will be a dark and brutal journey filled with lynch mobs, suicide cults, terrible monsters, and worse, monstrous men. But to Jebel, the risk is worth it. To retrieve his honor, to wield unimaginable power, to become the Thin Executioner. Because basically, if you haven't gotten the gist of this yet, Jebel isn't strong. He's basically, if this was any other fantasy setting, he would be the archetype that would be the wizard. He's weak, he's frail, but he's smart. And because of this, because of the fact that he lives in such a aggressive warrior society, he doesn't really have a station in life. He's not going to be able to have the type of life that his father has and do the types of things that he wants to do and hold the kind of station that he wants to hold. So he sets out on this quest, which has to be granted by, it's essentially the Lord of the City. And the way the quest works is if he fails, he can never return. And if he does return after having failed the quest, he will most likely be put to death. So he needs to make sure that he doesn't fail, because either way, his life will be forfeit. And it's kind of hinted at that many have died searching for this mysterious fire god. And there's a set path that they have to take to get there. Because it's also said that much like the Lord of the Rings series, where looking back, you wonder why Gandalf didn't take the eagles. Well, it's already explained here. They can't take boats or anything like that. They have to get there by following, like I said, a very specific path. I think it's laid out. There's like a map inside. I might be wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Oh no, I guess that's not laid out. But yeah, that's the map inside the book, but the actual path is not laid out in it, so I was wrong. But the book, depending on the type of stories you like, you might not like this book. I liked it, and I like the author, and I think they're a really great storyteller. But that being said, the book is very much a moral tale about killing, essentially, and violence. Because a lot of times it's shown, especially, that violence isn't the answer to every situation, which goes against everything Jebel's been taught growing up. And it's also an eye-opening experience for Jebel because he comes in contact with these other cultures and civilizations, which he was taught that are basically weak because they don't fight, and realizes that they're strong in not only other ways, but also physically strong. They're warriors in their own right. They just choose not to fight and not to kill for every little thing. I don't really want to spoil the ending of the book, but from reading the back, you obviously know that it's most likely he's going to befriend, let me try to get this name right again, Tel Hassani on the way there. But that's part of the challenge, and that's kind of what the book gets at. Will he or will he not go through with sacrificing Tel Hassani and fulfilling what is essentially his actual goal of not only gaining this miraculous power, but by taking a life and proving that he is in fact his father's son and can be an executioner. It's very different, I think, than a lot of the books that Darren Shan has written. If there was a moral tale in Circuit of Freak, I may have not have picked up on it. I know there was definitely moralistic elements in the story, but that's with every story, especially when you have good guys and bad guys. It's to be expected. Obviously, the good guy can't be a murderous psychopath unless we're talking about Deadpool. But yeah, I felt like this was a different kind of book. Maybe I need to reread the Circuit of Freaks series. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, please let me know in the comments. But until then, I hope you like me talking about The Thin Executioner. I did enjoy this book. I do recommend people read it. But like I said, it is a moralistic tale. Some people don't like moralistic stories. They feel like they're being preached at. That kind of tone does come across in the book. But once again, this is not a book that's meant for adults. This is young adult fiction. This is probably not middle grade fiction, but definitely young adult fiction. I liked it. I recommend it. If you see it in the wild and you want to pick it up, I think you'll enjoy it. I could be wrong. If I am wrong, please let me know in the comments. I always like talking about books. If you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. And until then, I will see you guys next time.